Messy Jesse, you thought it was cool to call us all nerds, huh? We're gonna be having that. Not gonna be having it. How many people? Well, we only got 5. Let's let some people get time to roll in. I'm hoping. There we go. It's bumping up there. Before we get started on House of the Dragon stuff. And I just want to preface some of this, okay? Now, I'm not a big nerdy fantasy dude, but me and Brandie are kind of into the night era stuff. So I think House of the Dragon's awesome. And I watched all of Game of Thrones and was probably the most dejected person out of the 5 billion about how it ended. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this to myself again. I don't know if I can watch something that much time and it turn out just as bad as it possibly could. If they said, John, we need you to write the ending of Game of Thrones and make it suck as much as possible, go. I would have wrote it exactly how it went down, because that was the biggest trash ending ever. Which you can see the details I put into your nerd pick. Jesse, you just need to calm it down. And I know you LARP, so I don't know why you're calling me a nerd. What those of y'all that aren't aware, LARPing is when you dress up in character and play some kind of fight scene or something like that. I'm not saying LARPing's bad. I personally don't LARP. Jessie LARPs a lot. She sent me pictures on like conventions she's been to, like NerdCon and all kinds of stuff. So I don't know why she's climbing on us because we watch House of the Dragon. And I'm just going to leave that there. Anyway, I've got all kinds of stuff prepared. I've got pictures so we can explain it to the group. I've got the trailer for the next episode. But I thought we'd start out for some people that ain't 100 on what's going on. We'll start off with the overall trailer, one of those. Let you check it out and then we'll talk about that. Because this is good stuff, man. They picked up, well, it's a prequel. That's the only issue I think I have with it, is that, pretty much, well, see, I don't know because I haven't read the books. I don't know what happened between this episode and the start of Game of Thrones. I haven't read the books. For those people that's read the books, they might have some more knowledge, but you never can tell where the book and the show is going to divide, because there's quite a few differences from what I understand. I've never read the books. I used to be a big reader earlier in life, but I'm not much into it anymore, and people say that there is a lot of variations in what happens. Hi, Brenda. How you doing? So, like I said, I don't know where it goes after the episode we've just seen. But some of you may, and let's just not be real spoiler heavy if we can, because it may not be how it works out anyway. Now, for those that haven't seen it or watching this to kind of catch up, it basically is 200 years before Game of Thrones. And what they're concentrating on is House Targaryen, because they ruled at this time. And what happens is this dude, that's Viserys. Early on, he gets voted king. They actually did like a democratic process. And that's how it starts out. Is his uncle is on the throne. He's getting ready to pass, and it's between him and his cousin. She's a woman, and I have a picture of her. Her name is Rhaenys Targaryen. That's her right there, standing up. White hair. You can always spot a Targaryen from a mile away by the white hair, right? And they start referring to her as the queen who never was, because even though she was up for the position between her and Viserys, the one who would win, it's kind of I don't know. I'm assuming that's a slam, but it's like the way they say it back and forth. I can't tell if it is every time or not. You know, it's interesting how they play that off. But that's what a lot of them refer to her as, the queen who never was. And it come down between her and Viserys won. He won the vote. And they play a lot into like politics, even back in the day, that it's basically the patriarchy's rules at this time, and to be a woman, and Rhaenyra, or princess or queen that never was, Rhaenys, she even says it, and it's kind of the feel you get watching it too, because like now the king's daughter, who is Rhaenyra, that's Rhaenyra right there, that's the king up behind her. Rhaenyra is named heir. This is after the king's wife is pregnant. This is how it starts off, with a baby. The baby and her die in childbirth, and this leaves her as his only heir, and she's a woman. Well, he names her heir, and all the lords come, and they're like, "Yeah, we got your back. We support you." Everybody acts like they're behind it, but we'll soon come to learn that's not how things are. Now, the original heir was this cat, Daemon, the king's brother. But Daemon lost his position because of a few things, really. The king put him at every spot at the table he could give him, pretty much. And Daemon just, it feels like to me, he either wants to be the king's hand, which is like the highest position from the king. And, Viserys he thinks Daemon's too hot-headed and stuff, basically. But that's his brother, Daemon Targaryen. And he is a straight badass, as we all come to find out. First episode where his wife was in labor and he chose for them to save the baby instead of his wife. I lost respect for the king. Well, now, Brenda, to be fair here, I don't think it was that as much as it was, if they didn't do it, they thought they were both going to end up dying. So, it's a terrible position to be put in. But if they think where it's breached that she's going to die anyway, that's, it makes you think, what would you do? I mean, if I was in his situation and I knew it was either both of them are gone or I can save one, and I would think the way they could do it would be to save the baby, because I don't know how they could save her. Because back then, I don't think childbirth was as successful as it is nowadays, But it's a sad story about all that, because, we come to find out that's like her 5th child she's lost. Well, we know that now. And it's awful. And I think Viserys, I really feel like he loved his wife, because he seems like he legitimately misses her. And he seems like, to me, that, he wasn't crazy on having to get married. But as we all know, that's how it kind of went down. And I think he was he was just in a bad spot. And that kind of speaks on what would it actually be that great to be the king or, royalty, because your choices are pretty much made by your position. Him being the king, he had to remarry, and it's like they were all over him so fast. Like it was sad. And right after they die, they call the big meeting and come to find out that hold on, I forgot something. Let's go ahead and watch the trailer real quick, because I got two of them. And this trailer, it's not like for an episode. It's like one of the ones that come out, I think.
What is this brief mortal life, if not the pursuit of legacy?
I, Rickon Stark.
I, Corlys Velaryon.
I, Ormond Baratheon.
Promise to be faithful
To King Viserys.
and to his named heir.
Princess Rhaenyra.
Rhaenyra Targaryen.
Men would sooner put the realm to the torch than see a woman ascend the Iron Throne.
We play an ugly game. You have the determination to win it.
History does not remember blood. It remembers names.
That is awesome, is it not? I love how now we got the dragons. I think that makes it so much better. Because, like at the end of Game of Thrones, there wasn't but one left. But this is 200 years prior to that, and there's quite a few dragons in the realm. And we see 3 of them already, which was in the first 3 episodes, and we didn't even see a dragon for a few seasons in Game of Thrones. So it's awesome how they've added the dragons, I think. I think it's badass. It gives you a lot better idea of just what an advantage a dragon would have been back in the day. It would have been like having a reusable nuclear weapon or something. That's how much of an advantage that would have been. So that's awesome, I think, that trailer. And it shows, and see, I kept getting confused by this. The younger Rhaenyra is the actor changes, and it changes for her friend too, Alicent. They changed their character. Like with Game of Thrones, they started when like some of them were real little, and by the time it was finished, they were grown up. But the way they're doing this, I guess they're compressing the timeline, and they're having to make Rhaenyra older, and they can't use I guess the younger Rhaenyra won't pass for that, because we're going to do a big time jump, I'm thinking. Now, people that, like I've said, have read the books, they probably know exactly what this is for, but I know that they're talking about on some of the other channels, there's going to be a big battle with all the dragons, like tons of them. And I'm thinking that's going to be probably a climax. They're acting like that's probably a season or 2 away. But, when this come out, it was HBO's all-time highest opening of any show ever on HBO. And that I think a lot of people are liking it too. I wish it wasn't a prequel, but it's still good for like me, because I haven't read the books. If you've read the books, I don't know how that would be, because I would see stuff that wasn't aligning with the book. I don't know if I would like that. I like that I just get the picture that's painted in the show, because I know they said Game of Thrones was way different. Like a lot of the stuff, I think they said like the mom come back as a White Walker, some craziness. I personally haven't seen it, so I couldn't say one way or the other. I'm hoping Rhaenyra gets to be queen. I love her. Oh, I'm all about her too. I'm a big fan of hers. The actress who plays Rhaenyra is actually 22 years old. Wow, she looks young. I thought she was probably in her teens, easy. I was thinking she was close to like 16, probably. That's good, though. I think she's got a good chance. The way I see it, the way I think this is going to play out, like I said, I've seen like some stuff people have said that have read the books, but I think there's going to be basically two sides. I'm pretty sure Viserys ain't going to make it through the whole season. If he does, I'll be shocked. And that's when it's going to hit the fan. And, you know, I got the trailer for the next episode. We'll watch it here in a minute. And I've seen other people interpret it, and I guess because it's a lot of it's not very long clips, and it gives you an idea, but we'll see what y'all think. Brenda, have you already seen the new trailer? Did you watch it? I didn't realize they were at the end of every episode. I've been cutting it off after they's over, and then I realized, you know, that they had next week's trailer on. So I said, yeah, we'll start checking that out. I think what we'll do real quick is we'll start the trailer. We'll go ahead and watch the trailer. I think everybody gets the basics of where we're at. I'm good. Let's investigate with Dipey. Welcome. Yes, but I want to see it again. You want? Okay, I'll play it real quick. It's good. I wish I could like pause and interject. Let me see if I can. I'm going to tell y'all what I think we're looking at, what's happening in the trailer.
From my blood come the prince that was promised, and his will be the song of ice and fire.
The House of the Dragon will stand as one for a further generation.
Who will it be? The brother?
They name me King of the Narrow Sea.
The daughter?
Your courtship is at an end.
So I can be a remedy for your political headache.
You are my political headache.
Or the little princeling of 3?
I have discomforting news.
This is a vile accusation.
Who is responsible for this gossip?
I will take their eyes.
It is not in Rhaenyra's nature to be deceitful. I cannot say the same for your brother.
Take cover!
There we go. What'd you think? To me, what I get out of it mostly, if I have to interpret by that, is something pretty serious has been said about Rhaenyra, is what I think. I think it's either that she was with somebody, or, you know, I'm thinking, if I had to guess, it's saying that she had slept with somebody. And see, that would be scandalous, because, you know, he's trying to marry her off right now, is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's either that. It's got something to do, I feel, with Daemon also, because you see him in the hood, and that's her that's dressed up in all that, like, it looks like peasant garb, running through the city, that's her also. So, and it looks like to me they're leaving together. If I had to guess, it both looks like they're dipping out. So I'm thinking whatever was said might be about her and Damon. So, is that what y'all make out of that? Is something wrong with the audio? Throw me a 1 if the audio is okay. Okay. What do you make out of it though, Brenda? Looks like to me they're running. I'm thinking it was Otto Hightower who started a rumor. If I had to guess, he would be my go-to guess, would be Mr. Otto. And we got a shot of Otto, this dude. It's him. I'm thinking, like when Viserys says, who is it? I'll take their eyes. I'm thinking he's just told him that he had heard the rumor, and that's kind of his response. I'll take their eyes. So I feel like what he's doing right there is announcing it, basically. And you know that I think the last episode was awesome. Damon taking out the crab feeder was one of the best scenes I've seen in either Game of Thrones or this. Yeah, I think and that's kind of why some of this Game of Thrones stuff is kind of taboo in some people's eyes, because I think that Damon and Rhaenyra definitely have a weird relationship. The way he put on her necklace when he was like, this is what do you call it? Valyrian steel. Yeah. It definitely felt odd. And see, they like to speak in the other language all the time. And I think they do that so people around them don't understand what they're talking about. Like, especially like when they have the scene at the bridge and she talks to Damon in, what is it called? Valyrian? Something like that. Whatever the language is that Targaryens speak and some other people, it seems like. But I think they're doing that because they want to, I don't know. Why else would you do it? The only reason I could think is you would speak a different language around people is because you didn't want them to know what you were saying. But it's like the stuff that I've heard them say to each other doesn't seem out of pocket, you know, because they're like doing that at the funeral right before Rhaenyra tells the dragon, gives it the command. What was the command? Dracarys. I'd love to be able to say Dracarys on the back of my dragon, wouldn't y'all? That sounds pretty nerdy, but the dragons are awesome. And if you think about what an advantage they would be too, especially in a fight. This right here is Rhaenyra's pal. I guess most of you guys know that, but her name's Alicent. She's the one that ends up marrying the king after he has to get remarried because his wife and his son both passed in childbirth. This is who he marries. This is Alicent. Alicent's his daughter, which he seems like everybody keeps comparing him to Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones. But I think Tywin was a scarier dude. Like, I feel like he's just going to like screw you over. He doesn't seem as threatening to me as Tywin did. I think the Lannisters were a little more on their game than this guy. But I and it makes you wonder what is Alicent really? Is she as innocent and, just operating on her dad's thoughts? I mean, I don't know. She seems like to me she's not a bad person, because they said when the other king was dying, Alicent would come read to him and stuff like that. And you know, she's been pretty good to Viserys, I guess, but she was sent there by her dad at first. So you wonder, is she still like just in it for what it can get her? He's more like Littlefinger. Yeah, there you go, Debbie. Yeah. Otto reminds me more of Littlefinger. Yes. These are people that's going to screw you over bad. And Otto, you can tell by the way it's shaping up. Otto is about Otto and about the crown. Because I thought it was weird in the last episode where he was telling Viserys that Rhaenyra should just get married to what's his name? I'm sorry, Aegon, who is King Viserys' son. He has by Alicent now. So that's why we're in the predicament we are, is because now he has a male heir, and you know, back in these times in this culture, that wasn't a great thing for Rhaenyra. But you know, if you think about it, say that they did get married, would that make her like the queen, or would it make him the king? You know what I'm saying? Because she's still named the heir. Would she be the ruler and he would have to follow her lead? I doubt it. Tywin was scary, dangerous. Otto is just a manipulator and an opportunist. Yeah. You know, though, I have to give Otto one thing. I thought it took a kind of a show of balls when he went to the Dragonstone to get the egg back. You know, and he talked Viserys out of going. Of course, you know, that's where his bread's buttered, with Viserys. So I guess if Viserys went down, he knows that he probably ain't gonna be the hand to whoever's coming in. So, but still, yeah, he's protecting his own ass. When he shows up, though, and then the dragon comes out, and he's like, all right, sheathe the steel. I'm thinking, well, you didn't see this coming on. You just going to go there and take him out, and nobody's going to be raising hell and acting up. When they got a dragon, they thought he was just going to hand the egg over. I like this guy right here. What y'all's thoughts on him? I like him. It's like he wants power, but he's not willing to do something just really underhanded to get it, is the feeling I get by him. And I'm thinking, because he always seemed like he had Daemon's back. This is Lord, I don't want to butcher his name, Corlys. And he is called the Sea Snake. His is like the richest family in the lands. They got like the silver hair. Him, and he has a son, and you know, his son's with him when they're trying to take over the Stepstones, which are the islands that crab feeders running amok on. But I tell you, I like this dude so far. He doesn't seem super underhanded, you know. He's got a problem. They won't take care of it. The king won't do nothing about it. So he takes it into his own hands and gets, you know, Daemon on board. He's the reason Daemon's there, basically, because we all know that he had Daemon over, invited him over to tell him, you know, this is a way for him to step out of the king's shadow and all that. So I think he is really just pissed off about the king not marrying his daughter. And that was like the real uncomfortable thing from the episode 2, I think it was. The king's walking through the garden with the 12-year-old girl. He looks super cool. Yeah, he's pretty badass. They got nice armor, too. A lot of critics are slamming the actor who plays Daemon, but I think he is amazing. I don't know why they're slamming him. I think he's doing great. Daemon seems like a real person to me, you know? And when he's doing his thing, chasing down the crab feeder and fighting all them and all that stuff, I think it looks legit, man. I think he does good. What's everybody else think? You like Daemon or no? You think he's a good character? I think he's doing great. I feel like he's like this conceited dude who's not that bad of a guy. Because I really feel like he doesn't want to take the crown from Viserys. I don't get that feeling, you know? And when Viserys is talking about Daemon doesn't want to be the king, he doesn't have the patience for it. Daemon's like laughing where he's listening in. I get the feeling that's not his end game. He's not just there to be the king. I think he just wants to be as famous as the king. And I think that's another great part about the bridge scene when Daemon and what's his name, Kristen Cole are there. They meet on the bridge. I think that's awesome because Daemon calls him Sir Crispin, and dude's like, Sir Kristen, maybe you remember me knocking you off your horse, because that happened in the first episode where they're doing the joust. Well, see, Daemon ended up where he could have won, but instead of finishing dude, he starts admiring the crowd and falls in love with how the crowd's screaming for him and stuff. I tell you though, I think whatever's coming up this next episode, it's this cat that's behind it for sure. He has started a rumor because you can tell he really wants Aegon, which is his grandson. He really wants him to be king. And I don't, his daughter is queen. I mean, how much more power is he really going to be with a grandson as king? He's already the hand. But I guess he's just wanting to stabilize it for the next. Because he probably has a good idea right now that Viserys has some kind of medical ailment. His fingers are rotting off. And I really thought the first episode where they showed that spot on his back, I looked at it and I was like, damn, that looks like the grayscale. It didn't look like a cut to me. It looked like a sore, like the grayscale starts out looking like. But they act like that wasn't it. I think he's just trying to prove himself to Rhaenyra. He knew she would come for the egg. Yeah, maybe. Maybe he's like, I ain't seen Rhaenyra in a minute. What would get her over here? Stealing the egg. Possibly. I've never thought about it that way, Brenda. That could have, because he sure give it up easy, really. He didn't put up a big fight. She just basically called him out, either kill me or give me the damn egg back and let's move on. And, he chose to give her the egg back. I thought it would have been messed up if when he did that, instead of like throwing it back to her, he throws it off the side of the bridge. I think this week, though, is going to be telling. This is, I think, going to be the episode that splits the two teams, because that's what it's coming down to. And I'm thinking, if you think about it, it's looking like Team Daemon, it'd be Team Rhaenyra, but to me, right now, it's looking like Rhaenyra is going to have Daemon and Rhaenys and Lord Corlys. I think they're going to be on Rhaenyra's side because he already is mad at the king. So I'm thinking he seems to support Daemon more too. And since him and Daemon have fought that war together, I'm thinking he's going to be on their side, possibly. I don't know though. Will he like step away from his position at High Council for the sitting king if it splits up before Viserys is gone? And that's what it's looking like is going to happen. And he kept looking up at the sky waiting for her. You think that's what that was? That's interesting. That's a good thought, Brenna. Yeah, I think the king's definitely not going to be around long. Yeah, grayscale, Jesse, is this disease. It was in Game of Thrones. These guys, their skin starts to look like scaled dragon's skin or something. And it's supposed to be like super easy to pass back and forth. If you touch somebody that has it, you got it. Well, in the last episode, the guy that Damon kills, Prince Damon, he happens to have grayscale, and Damon's dragging him out by the hand. And I'm like, damn, that's just a horrible idea to be touching somebody with the grayscale. I talked about that in my video. But I guess they're just going to let that ride. I don't like when they do stuff like that, though, you know. Because unless grayscale becomes less dangerous after you die, I don't see how he wouldn't have contracted it. Because this is the dude he kills right here. And this dude was eat up with the grayscale. He's the crab feeder. They called him that because he would pull people up onto the beach, drive stakes through them, and let the tide come in, and the crabs wash up on them, and the crabs start eating them and all this good shit. And I think they said they would drown eventually. So that's some pretty damn sadistic stuff. And that's who Damon, at the end of the last episode, ends up cutting him in half and dragging him out the top of him. He's got his arm, and it's kind of raw too, because when they show an overhead shot of it, his intestines and everything are just right there. Do they know it comes from touching infected folks? Yes. They know. Everybody knows that you can't touch them or you get the grayscale. That's why it seems so odd they would show that scene of him carrying him out like that, knowing that this dude was eat up in the grayscale. I mean, this guy's got it bad. He looks deformed as hell. He's wearing a mask, and I think that's probably to hide something even more hideous underneath. So with him having the grayscale, I don't know, man. It'd be wild. You know, at the end of the new one, too, I don't know if y'all noticed or not, though, Damon's dragon looks like it gets real close to Rhaenyra's ship and gusts it. But I was thinking that could have just been Damon blowing some wind behind her sails, because maybe they were running from somebody. Have y'all thought of that? Because the dragon doesn't seem to touch the ship, but I guess it whips the air at the sail and it lurches forward. Could somebody be in pursuit of Rhaenyra? And I think it's odd to see Rhaenyra in the ship. Does that mean that her dragon, she can't get it? When she escapes, she has to leave her dragon behind? Because if she ain't got her dragon, that's bad. Now, you know, Daemon would still have his dragon. And Lord Corlys's son, who I'm expecting is going to be on their side when the wash comes out. Because we also seen them together in one of the trailers. Because there's quite a few trailers out there if you watch them. There's one that's like almost 2 minutes long, and it looks like there's stuff coming way down the road, because it shows a lot of older versions of the actors where they had switched actors in the role to make it older. I guess it's going to be like I was talking about before, a big time jump. But here's a picture of Rhaenyra, and this dude right here is Lord Corlys's son. So this is Rhaenyra's. They're not that close related, but this dude is the son of the king, who is Rhaenyra's cousin, the queen that never was. This is her son. And I'm thinking, I thought that's the way this was going. But it's making me wonder now, if the trailer we seen, it doesn't look like this is going to be happening soon. And I thought this would happen before all the betrayal and stuff started. But I'm assuming not. It's still got the younger actress in the picture, so it's got to happen kind of soon. But I definitely think if you pay attention to the that trailer, that they're not trying to, hit the leaner. Is it leaner? Something like that. But he's the Lord Corliss's son with Prince Renice. Is she? I guess she's still a prince. Yeah, she's a princess. Princess Renice. And she's kind of, you can tell she's kind of got a bad turn to her, where she got spurned when they went to become king. They picked Viserys over her, and that seems to really have had a long bad impression on her thought process, because she really seems like she is just settled to the fact that there's never going to be a queen on the Iron Throne, and there is that one scene where Rhaenyra kind of calls her out for that. She's like, they didn't, not select the queen. She says they didn't select you. And Rhaenyra kind of makes it out to where she was the problem. It wasn't they didn't want a woman, they just didn't want you, kind of like the Hillary Clinton election. It wasn't that they didn't want a woman, it's just Hillary was crooked. But I would like to know in the comments, people that will rewatch this, what you think the betrayal is. Because I'm thinking, and we're talking about in the trailer, the next episode's coming up, there's obviously some sort of betrayal. And I'm thinking somebody started a rumor that Rhaenyra and Daemon were messing around. I really believe that's what it's going to turn out to be. Because they both look like they're fleeing, So apparently both of them have a reason to be fleeing, because you would think if Daemon wasn't involved in the rumor, he wouldn't have to worry about going out in a cloak, because it shows him at night in the cloak, and then it shows Rhaenyra dressed up as a peasant, and it looks like they're both heading out. And then when Allison's talking, she's kind of like, she thought Rhaenyra was all right, but she didn't know about Daemon. So I'm thinking that's definitely what's coming. I know I've seen though where, well, I don't want to spoil it, but some of the stuff that's coming down is going to be bad. But I think anybody can tell the king is not long for this earth, because it's like every episode they've shown something that's ailing him. And I think in the last one, it shows that he's lost like his last two fingers, or at least half of them. The one, I think, I know he's lost two. A lot of people speculate on what that could be. I think they're trying to insinuate he has like diabetes. That's what people tell me. They believe that is causing his symptoms, like his limbs, his fingers getting cut won't heal. It could be, maybe that's what they're trying to insinuate. But I get the feeling he's not going to be there much longer. I'm thinking whatever happens here is going to be pretty close to the end of him. I think that's why everybody's going to end up having to pick a side, because I think he's not going to be there for some reason. It's the throne. I've heard that too, Debbie. Oh, thank you, Jesse. Make fun. I might even edit out the part where I tell everybody you call us all nerds. Yeah, Jesse, you need to start watching. It's good stuff. Brenda knows, she's watched it. They do say that it's the throne that's hurting, and it's the throne that cut his finger. That's for damn sure. I only watched the first episode. I'm behind. That's okay, Suzette. You can catch up. I've only made the third episode review video and, done this one live, but I'm going to try to keep up. I'm going to try Mondays to do the review video from Sunday's episode. And then we're going to do a live once a week to chat it up, see what everybody thinks is getting ready to come down the pipe. All right, Jesse has accepted the challenge. Yeah, Jesse, you watch it and you're up to date with us. I feel like you probably got the gist of it right now. Just being here. Now I feel like I'm spoiling for you. I did want to make those live a little bit to where people could watch it and get an idea of who was who. You know, that's why I try to show different pictures. Like there's the actress that plays Rhaenyra. This is the princess right now. She's going to be up for queen soon when her dad passes. Now, the question is, before he passes, is she still the heir, or has he already picked Aegon because of whatever happens in this next episode that makes him think she's done something horrible? I don't think Daemon wants to be the king. I think he would probably more be an asset to Rhaenyra. I think he's definitely going to have her back when it comes to it. Because for one thing, I think he's going to be part of the reason shit hits the fan, and he's not going to be left much of a choice of which side he's going to be on. But I think he would pick her side regardless. I really do. But, you know, he shouldn't catch a lot of shit because I think he hasn't done much to the king himself. You know, I think the stuff he has done is just to get a rise out of the king. So is he the son he has now, the one that becomes the Mad King? No. Because this is still 200 years ahead. That's a couple generations down the road. Viserys is his issue is he he doesn't make kingly decisions, I don't think. I'm obsessed. I diligently wait all day Sunday for the new episode to drop. Me too. I love it. I love it. And I was really excited for this one, for the fight with the crab feeder. I thought that was really badass. And I thought it was a good way to tell it too, because that way it could just be the dragons flying in and roasting everybody there. But how they kind of give them they were hiding in the cave stuff, they made it more even, because just to see the dragon go in and just roast everybody and everything, that's not that impressive, you know. I'm glad a lot of the fights ain't just that, because that would get old. I'll be interested to see though what the rumor is. Like I said, I think we all got a pretty good idea of what it could be between Daemon and Rhaenyra, but we'll see. I don't want to call it that for sure just yet. That makes this picture right here, man. There he is. This is her day she got named. Is he going to like stab her right in the back? I don't know. I don't think he's going to. I think unless something crazy happens, he'll stand by her. Well, I don't know. If she's fleeing, you got to think that's so serious to where she won't be the heir no more. It's hard to beat the characters in the original Game of Thrones. Suzette, I'm telling you, give it time, watch it, learn it, get comfortable with it, and I think you're going to like it. The one thing I think so far it's kind of fell short on was the amount of characters it's introduced. Because I really feel like Game of Thrones, I mean, right in the beginning when they come to Winterfell, you got every one of the Starks, Jaime, all of them, Tyrion, a ton of people. We already know who they are. And I feel like we don't have that many characters here. Like there's one guy that he's always talking to the king. I can't even remember his name. he has a seat at the table, and they haven't developed him enough to where I know who he is. I'm sure people that watch the book probably know exactly who he is, but I don't feel like the characters have expanded enough. Okay, Brenda, we'll see. I'm getting ready to cut her out anyway. I wanted to do the first one and just kind of put enough pictures up to where everybody understood who everybody was, make sure we're all on the same page. And anybody that, hasn't watched it, check it out. I'm telling you. Then come next week, you're going to be like, wow, did you see blah, blah? It's good stuff. It is. And I hope as we keep up with every episode, our group starts to grow, because there's a lot of stuff that happens just in one episode. They're an hour long, but they are jam-packed. It seems like it goes by fast, but it's really good stuff, and it's something to talk about. So let me know what you guys think. And is it true there is only going to be a few episodes? Suzette, I don't think so. I've already heard that their next season was already approved, and I think from what I understand, there's going to be quite a few seasons, because I've seen a lot of people that really dive into it, and they're saying that there's stuff that's going to happen, and they're saying like, well, it'll probably be around the end of season 3 or 4. And I'm like, so I think the general idea right now, especially because it is doing pretty good, I think it's going to be a few seasons. Yeah. In my opinion, and what I've seen and heard, it makes me think there's going to be a lot of it. Do y'all like the new throne, how they spiced it up in this one? Because they say in the book, the throne's like 20 feet high, and it's all these swords stacked all the way up beside it. And they couldn't do that, I think, for filming logistics, but they did beef it up a lot, because in the other one, all you had was the throne. None of that stuff was beside it and all that. But that's it. We're going to sign off. In the comments, let me know, who do you think the rumor is about that's going to, or let's go with, who do you think started the rumor? I'm going to say it was a rumor, and it was started by Otto, Mr. Hightower. I think that's his name. The Hightower guy, if it's my guess. Everybody, thanks for coming, and we'll see you next week, next Thursday. Bye. Jesse, thanks for being here and helping out. Bye, everybody.